Welcome to All Things Wellington 2022, brought to you by Wordle. Just kidding, not really brought to you by Wordle, but it is fun to think of 5-letter words that might relate to Wellington, like learn. I know there's a lot of students out there watching tonight. Thank you for joining us. And your challenge is to think of a 5-letter word that makes you think of Wellington. And when you see me in the hallways, be sure and share that word. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We have gone to the virtual format again this year, and in true Wellington fashion, we're innovating forward. This format allows us the opportunity to explore new and exciting ways to tell and share the Wellington story. I really appreciate the work that the parent connectors have done tonight to pull together those virtual grade level events and the watch parties happening all around Columbus. Although we are very excited that Wellington is approaching its 40th year in existence. Fun fact, we were the first co-ed independent school in Columbus. And many programs and traditions have evolved through the years. Some things never change, like keeping students at the center of the learning, valuing research and collaboration, and bringing an entrepreneurial and innovative spirit to all that we do. I always like to start any event with a reminder of our mission. We help students find their purpose and realize their potential for tomorrow's world. As you watch your program tonight, keep purpose and potential in mind. I think you'll see our mission come to life in the work of the students. This year, we're going back to the basics by examining and exploring the foundational elements that make us who we are, the daily moments and rhythms that shape the Wellington experience, that strengthen our community and elevate the learning for each student. We value those little moments at Wellington. Those impromptu sledding parties during brain break out on Roberts Field build connections and help us find the joy. I'm both thankful and apologetic to the parents and caregivers who jammed big plastic sleds and inflatable objects into their cars each morning in order to support our snow menagerie. I think I saw a full-sized inflatable snowmobile in the hall at one point. It was worth it, I promise you. Woven throughout the program, we'll see how teachers are thoughtfully incorporating lifelong skill building into the Wellington experience. To begin our program, we'll enjoy stories that highlight learning that is authentic and relevant, nurturing critical foundational skills related to passion-driven research, autonomy, writing acumen, and elevating mathematical readiness through an exploration of financial literacy. I know you will enjoy these stories of our students taking ownership of their learning and applying their new skills to new problems.
Well, Wellington's mission is to help students reach their full potential, and with passion projects, students have control over their learning, and they are able to pick and identify what they truly love and what they're curious about.
When they're pursuing their interest, it's wonderful to see that seed of curiosity, which then develops into formulating questions, seeking understanding.
If a student is pursuing something that they're passionate in, they're going to be driven to learn those skills regardless of what the content is, and then letting the content be inspired by the student.
So today we did Ari's passion for dinosaurs. It was really exciting. He got up and shared all of his knowledge for dinosaurs, and the students are just so excited to cheer him on. We did dinosaur edition. So just incorporating that student's passion is also increasing that engagement throughout the whole class, because they know this is Ari's passion, we're doing dinosaur edition, and it just increases that excitement towards learning. And by learning about what each other loves, they are also growing their compassion, and therefore it builds relationships too. Another passion project we done was robots. This was really great because we connected to the upper school, the robotics team. We went into the makerspace, and the students got to work with robots and ask those older kids questions so they saw into their future of Wellington. It was also a confidence builder for the robotics team too, because these little students were there so excited about robots and the robot that they were creating. So just that connection too that was built between the upper school and our kindergarten class was really special. And with all of the opportunities that Wellington provides and all the clubs and extracurriculars, there's so many opportunities for them to really explore what they love and what they want to do at Wellington.
3, 2, 1. I picked up my binder and it fell. At least nobody got hurt. I mean, it could have been really bad.
You hurt my feelings.
I and I know that, yeah. I
Middle school is a time of self-discovery and exploration, and so students show up to school with so many interests and so many curiosities that we want to provide opportunities for them beyond the core coursework. One of the things that I absolutely love about our dive program is the joy that students have when they take their dives. The goal of that program is to allow students to develop their real-world skills, as well as also to provide opportunities for students to follow their passion.
So Alice and me, we came up with the idea,
along with Mr. B,
along with Mr. B,
to create like a morning show so that it would catch people's attention and it wouldn't be boring and people would actually know what any of the announcements were.
So we decided to turn our morning meeting into a television talk show with a morning show theme.
At first, it was just me doing weather and Alice doing
Like traffic and interviews.
Yeah. And then morning show had really grown.
Yeah,
I mean,
there
it went
was,
from
like,
me and
there was-
Alice and Mr. B to we have like 10 more people
fashion
now.
and what's poppin' and like sports.
All of the segments were written and produced by students, and so you can look at something like the morning show, and you can see how students were able to follow their unique passions. They're developing collaboration, problem solving, as well as real-world skills.
It's like people letting us do the things that we feel comfortable with and then letting us grow to do the things that they wanted us to.
There's really an infinite amount of growth that happens with a child in a course like that and in a program like this. You can see that they have taken their skills from early childhood here in our lower school and are able to expand those further in middle school.
We've actually done multiple videos, and we've combined it all to make an actual morning show.
Yeah.
So I feel like other than making the show better, we've kind of gone up in the technology part as well.
You can really see the spark of curiosity when that moment happens, when students are fully engaged. They're dynamic, their energy rises, they're happy, they love what they're doing, and they're also really challenged intellectually.
I feel like our teachers really give us the room to grow, and if we're not ready for something, they will recognize that and help us become ready for that thing.
And so it's really joyful as the educator to see that whole process unfold and to see their enthusiasm and their level of engagement. And we also want to make sure that we are directing their skills in such a way that they're poised and ready to take on upper school and the world.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, because it always is.
And what is this sitting right next to you, for example?
Yes, I have no clue. Within the upper school, we teach 150 different classes every year. But even at 150 classes, there are going to be things that students want to explore that aren't within the curriculum. And that's where WonderLab steps in. WonderLab is a research and creative works incubator for student projects. We created it for a community of problem solvers. We had a faculty member who's been studying sustainability for years. And as he exercises at home, he's often wondered if he could turn his bike trainer into something that could charge batteries that could do work later. Well, it turns out that's really similar to some of the work that one of our middle school students was doing last year. And now that he's in the upper school, he's picked up one of these tickets through WonderLab Works to help that faculty member out.
I started working on my first e-bike in 6th grade, and I was basically immediately hooked. I said, oh, this is so cool. So I started to do some research, figure out what parts I needed and how I was going to assemble it. So I assembled the battery. The batteries are made of 18650 lithium-ion batteries, but they're great for their energy to weight density. My first bike was more for practicality. It wasn't much for aesthetics. My second e-bike, which I'm currently building now, is more of that aesthetic and long-term.
He's currently using the makerspace and the STEM space to build a battery converter that will actually charge and store energy based on this faculty member's exercising habits. I think so much of education is making it relevant. If you can let them put their hands on the work, I think it makes it more meaningful, and I think learning is much more enduring.
I personally am more of a hands-on learner, prefer physical things. It's just easier to comprehend for me. Teachers know their students really well, and if a student learns better a certain way, they will find a way to incorporate that into their subject and material, which really helps us get us involved into their subject and helps us learn more. So I think that project and problem really allows me to do what I really enjoy.
At Wellington, one of our overarching goals is to help students reach their unique potential. And we think that we are doing our students an incredible service by giving them those opportunities now. They're much more willing to grind when they know that the end goal is something that they love. Through that process, not only are they learning the content and skills required, but they're battling it with much more tenacity, grit, and perseverance and resilience. All of those things that we know students need to be successful.
I think problems are good because they allow you to stretch your mind in ways that you haven't done before, and the reward at the end is you just feeling, because all the hard work you put in finally pays off, and you see this final product and this beautiful thing that you've created, and it's just very rewardful, and it fills you with a sense of joy and pride.
I love being at Wellington. I get to contribute in so many different ways. I'm very proud of the work that we have done with WonderLab. It has just given us so many opportunities to reach out to students and allow them to engage in something that they have passion for.
I think to be a Wellington student is a great privilege because you have all these welcoming kids and teachers that encourage you to follow your passions, and I think they really help you go up above and beyond and achieve goals that allows me to do what I really enjoy.
The writing process in the lower school is all about taking the time. I like to make sure that kids understand that their words are important.
We are lucky at Wellington to be afforded the time to get to know our students well. I really feel strongly that for students to be successful as writers, they have to feel supported and safe.
My main key is to encourage them and let them know that your words matter.
At its roots, writing is really a way to connect to other people, including yourself. The ability to put pen to paper gracefully can bring comfort to other people in your lives.
In Miss Johnson's 4th grade class, we're doing a writing project about major events that happened in history that we are all excited to write about. And then we put it up on a timeline in our wall. It's pretty fun.
There's 2 different types of writing in our classroom. It's teacher-directed, but then we also have creative writing, where the students are able to write about whatever is a student choice.
In 4th grade, we put on multiple skits, and the really cool thing about it is that the students get to write the play, and then we audition for it. We are so privileged to, get to actually make the play that the whole school is going to see.
Ultimately, the ability to write well helps make a difference in the world.
Clearly, we want our students to be prepared for whatever career, whatever college they go to after they leave Wellington, and we know that no matter the path they take, it will involve writing.
We prepare students for middle school, helping them to understand that a writing cannot be done in a day. It takes time. That's why we use the writing process. It's steps that are involved, and letting them know that writing can be even better.
It takes a lot of knowledge and mental power to put a bunch of your thoughts on paper.
As a teacher of writing, I try to provide my students with enough scaffolding to allow them to be successful.
I wake up every day thinking about how I can write in a way that's accessible so that ultimately the work that I do, the work I believe in, is going to affect real change in the world.
I feel like I'm really proud of myself when I finish because it's just this great feeling of achievement. When you get your writing hung up on the timeline, it just makes me smile and it makes me feel really proud. I wrote one of the plays that's going to be performed this year. I just felt so accomplished, and I was like, this has never happened. I am so lucky, and this is just the best.
I implemented the financial literacy program in my math classes here at Wellington after being given an engagement grant through the Wellington School. I'd seen so many wonderful things happening at Wellington through the engagement grant program, and I really was inspired to deliver something in financial education to middle school math students. At an age where they were still trying to find their own independence, I thought this is a great opportunity for them to learn about handling their own income, understanding the value of money, but building that into the math curriculum throughout as opposed to just a bolt-on or an add-on that really has no meaning to them. They're able to make decisions, they're able to own their learning, they get emotionally involved in it as they see the ups and downs of the share market and various investments that they make. But in that, they learn all of those wonderful skills positive and negative numbers, percentages, rates and ratios. They read charts, they interpret charts, all of those things that we really want them to learn in that middle school phase of math.
We get a set amount of income and expenses, and we take the money that's left to invest and figure out how to best use our money wisely.
It gives them that real experience of life expenses and the cost of living. Their eyes were open when they saw things such as student loan expenses, credit card bills, car payments, all of those living expenses that actually impact on disposable income. And so then once they realise that their disposable income was much smaller than they probably envisage, it then becomes really valuable to them, and then seeing what they can do with that by growing it in a manner that's passive is really powerful.
It's affected me in the way that I realized that you can't just take the money for granted, and you have to be wise with it and not be impulsive and just make good decisions.
Within the classroom, students actually have an active portfolio that is updating in real time. They can track it as the market opens in the morning. They can follow it throughout the day. Sometimes it's a positive day, sometimes it's not, and that all adds to the learning. But they can actually assess trends, they can make investment decisions, they can reflect on decisions that they might have made differently if they had the opportunity again. They're not trading, they're buying stocks, they're buying cryptocurrencies, which is something we've added new this year, cash deposits, foreign currency. So they make all of these decisions and then just follow it and just see what happens, give it time.
When each of us purchase our investments, we talk together to see what works and what didn't work, what stocks are doing better, and what signs show that they're doing well.
The purpose of that is that it takes down that veil of fear that comes with investing, so that in the future, when they're actually earning an income, they might be confident to take action themselves. One of the most powerful things about this financial literacy program is the way it links back to math and math concepts and bringing them to life for students. And I see as they move into the upper school and beyond, having that appreciation of those fundamental math skills and how they actually have real-world application will help them when they apply that to more complicated math, such as geometry, calculus, and so on in the upper school.
As was clear from those videos, we continue to do the work to teach students how to think, not what to think. We also encourage students to lean into new challenges, to build new strategies, and develop problem-solving skills. If you've been around me at all, you understand that I value the educational perspective that students should evolve from being consumers of information to producers of things. Those things might be new questions or new research findings in the biology room. Those videos certainly highlighted the power of that process. Perhaps we've taken things a little too far with the persuasive writing projects, though. I'm now the recipient of many new proposals. One demanding a lower school soccer team, more dress-down days, and a picture day innovation that lets students create their own creative personality. Now, I think some faculty might be putting some students up to this project because a persuasive essay about elevated snacks in the faculty room doesn't seem like a third-grade thing. What's also impressive is the fact that the lower school students walking into the head's office feel comfortable sharing their ideas. Now, I try to be approachable, but I'm still a pretty big deal, right? Well, at least to 12-year-old kids. In order for students to feel safe to take on new risks, it is critical that they know that they are safe and supported. Each student and family is an important part of this community, and each student learns that their voice matters, and also that they have a responsibility to listen and learn from each other. As we continue to affirm our school values, these next videos will highlight our values of be yourself and be empathetic. Our community is built around the duality of students and faculty looking both inward to understand their own purpose and priorities, while also being attuned to the stories of those around them, building empathy and understanding. When we listen for understanding instead of listening to respond, we learn much more. The following videos highlight the important elements of community building at Wellington, related to both understanding our own priorities and identity and also maintaining connections with one another. I hope you enjoy these videos that highlight our outstanding community. We are JAGS together, indeed.
And so then we talked about some stereotypes that can arise. And we also talked about this issue, right, of is there any such thing as a good stereotype, right?
A Foot in Two Places is a way for students to connect not only with each other, but also with faculty and staff who have a multi-background of some type. We identify with more than one race, more than one ethnic group, religion, that we really have a foot in two different places as opposed to just in one particular area.
A Foot in Two Places is a club where you can talk about your experiences and listen and learn about others.
It has taken off and really focus on the celebrations and the positive impact having a foot in two places makes in one's life.
Because I had a different race, culture, and ethnicity than different people, so I wanted to share and learn about different races and holidays and everything about different people.
We'll just talk about something like stereotypes and how stereotypes are out there and how really important it is to get to know somebody individually and not to make assumptions about them, and really how to go about doing that.
Yesterday I went for a checkup and we were in line kind of to, check in. And even though they didn't do to anyone else, they checked both me and my mom's bags. Really.
Something the students did is they put together a video about how to move past stereotypes, and they all came up with a suggestion on how to do that. One was ask and listen, another one was celebrate, another one was travel, try new foods. So we're really taking the positive aspect of culture and their experiences and how that can work to their benefit.
It makes me proud of myself to say that I am someone who has a foot in two places, but at the same time there can be negative experiences with having a foot in two places, and this club makes me feel like it isn't just me that goes through it, it's everyone, and that I should be proud of who I am no matter what.
It makes me feel like I'm with someone, not just alone. I get to be with someone to share anything that I feel.
When we meet together, there is a feeling and a recognition and appreciation of a shared experience. It's somebody looking at somebody across the room and saying, aha, you know how I feel. You've been through that too. Somebody's made a comment to you or you've experienced that.
I think it's important for Wellington to have a space like this because so many kids and even adults that have a foot in two places can feel out of place or uncomfortable because that they are seen as different sometimes. And I think this area is a safe place to learn about what a foot in two places really means and learning that it's okay to have a foot in two places and it doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Being in a foot in two places makes me feel that I can share with other people if I'm feeling something that I usually don't. That's hard to get through.
I think there is an immediate appreciation and recognition that we have with each other over the shared experience.
One of the most unique things, and probably one of the things we tout most when it comes to community, is we start our day all together as an entire school. We call it morning meeting. It's led by our student council, and anyone in our community can get up and address the entire body of school.
People tell jokes, read poetry, wish people happy birthdays. It's just a place for you to be creative in front of a lot of people, and it feels safe.
It grounds our day, it kind of starts our day in a really nice way, and then we move on throughout the rest of it.
In terms of helping each child reach their potential and find their purpose for tomorrow's world, you have to do that in the context of a community. And you have to do that by first knowing who you are in the context of your local community, and then you figure out who you are in the context of the world.
A lot of the work in the early childhood and in the lower school is really about trying to help them understand some of these social emotional skills.
Before we make those connections farther out beyond our classroom, we really have to look at ourselves and get to know ourselves before we can even look at other students in the classroom.
You start by connecting. You start by instilling a sense of belonging and value and making sure every child is seen and heard and known for exactly who they are.
We are all a part of this Wellington community, and we want it to be the best place that we can possibly make it, and everybody has a part to play.
The beauty of Wellington is its size. For a lot of our families, and actually a lot of our faculty members, We enjoy that our classes are small, so I can see and know my students as I teach them day in and day out.
It's different in that way. You know, it's the right size to be able to have all of these super close connections with your classmates and your teachers. Everybody is kind of friends with everybody.
We work tirelessly to make sure that all voices are heard in any way we possibly can in many different facets, that sense of community is ever growing.
Coming into an uncomfortable environment and feeling safe and secure gives you the opportunity to safely explore things that make you feel uncomfortable. Being in classes that have difficult topics of discussion, try and put yourself in someone else's shoes is something that will obviously help you grow.
Revisiting this idea of what community means doesn't necessarily mean we all believe or think the same thing. But it's also okay to lean into that bit of discomfort and understand that we may have disagreements within our own community, but we can still lift each other up and support each other and show up every day and do this thing together.
When you're supported, when you feel safe, when you think you can be and know you can be who you are, that's when the actual wheels get turning. That's when you step outside the box and produce something that's sometimes magical.
You come here and you see everybody else with their guard down and feeling welcome and comfortable here, and that kind of liberates you to feel the same way.
So this is my 20th year at Wellington. I am an alum. I started in 6th grade. It was my first day at Wellington, and me being the nervous little child that I was definitely physically anxious and a little bit twitchy. And a student who was in my class saw that I was nervous, sat down next to me, and put his hand on my knee and said, "It'll be all right." And I've kind of taken that sentiment with me through Wellington, and knowing that that's Wellington's community. Once you're here, you're part of it.
So there are always ways that we are trying to foster connections and remember what is so special about being in a building where you have age 3 up to grade 12. That's really unique and presents a lot of possibilities.
We have a program that our 4th graders buddy up with kindergartners and help them navigate their first years in the lower school. And we also have a senior buddy program that seniors buddy up with lower school classrooms.
Our seniors love going down to our lower school classes. They love it. It's the highlight of the day.
I love that program. I love being a senior buddy. I love sitting down there and listening to them talk, because they will talk forever. We had a big party and we sat around and played with their toys with them, which was kind of freeing a little bit, because I enjoyed playing with those toys when I was a kid.
They're coming in and remembering what they experienced and drawing that thread of commonality. It's so important that they have these outstanding and amazing role models who are in their own right paving a path.
Everyone that I know who was here during preschool has said that their senior buddies were like the coolest people in the world and people that they really learned a lot from. And it's really rewarding to be in that same situation.
To see that joy on some of our most hardened seniors who think they're tough, to watch their senior buddies melt all over them, it's really, really sweet. So I just love being in the building. I'm gushing now. Get out of here.
Wellington's the I have an idea school. Having an idea, running with it, and being proud of what they accomplished.
It's very, very cool to be a part of something that a peer has created, and it's different. It feels different. There's more room to breathe, more room to be yourself.
To have not only those students see their idea recognized, heard, but then to also have the school say, absolutely, we are missing this, is really exciting. I think about clubs here at Wellington, they're robust. We have 35 clubs, I think, offering this year, and they range from my favorite being D&D to student government. Model UN, our gender sexuality alliance, meets regularly and actually has a separate club for those who identify along that spectrum. And to know that those student clubs are started by students who have a passion, who have an interest.
It's student-led, a lot of room for creativity where, in class you might have a specific assignment where you have to complete. It gives you a lot more room to do what you wish. And that allows you to connect with people who have specific common interests.
They're learning how to socialize. They're learning how to explore their interest, to know themselves, and to get to know others, to spread that empathy.
The whole idea of helping to ensure that a child is known, valued, and feels that sense of belonging then translates to them being able to take academic risks. And that is so critical. It doesn't matter what that looks like. That shouldn't look the same on any one student.
And when we take an approach that values community, and we can help them to live into their potential, and that's the mission of the school, to help them find their purpose.
To try to guide kids as they are also figuring out the world to navigate is, I think, when we are at our best. The highs are highs. We all excel in those. We love those. But it's the care that Wellington takes when the world is not perfect, and when we're asking really harsh questions of it, that I think those are the moments that shine best.
This has been one of the most challenging times to be in a school community, and yet it has also been some of the most rewarding work I have ever been a part of. I imagine that sentiment is shared by both our students and educators alike. Despite the many obstacles, the stories you have experienced tonight occurred in the middle of all that noise and chaos. I'm so impressed by the ongoing commitment of the very talented group of educators who show up every day to greet each student with a smile and the next set of challenges. We talk about learning being a joyful exploration, and we do our best to make that a reality throughout our classrooms and hallways. There's so much to be excited about as our community has grown stronger and our campus continues to evolve. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you especially for being a part of this community. You trust us with your most prized possession, and we do not take that lightly. I hope that was apparent from the outstanding work and camaraderie highlighted throughout all of the videos. I look forward to seeing you around campus, and until then, stay safe, and remember, when Jaguars stick together, anything is possible. Have a great rest of your night, and go Jags.